Let's talk about financial literacy. It sounds boring, right? Like something you'd fall asleep to in a high school classroom? But what if I told you it's just a fancy term for knowing the rules to the game? And what if I told you that 99% of people are losing that game simply because they were never taught the rules? Everybody talks about financial freedom. That's the big dream, isn't it? It's that I'm done money. It's the ability to wake up one day and no longer depend on a job you hate, a boss you can't stand, or a paycheck that just isn't cutting it. But here's the kicker. What if financial freedom isn't even the real goal? What if the real prize is financial confidence? That's not a number in the bank. That's the skill of knowing how to generate money. Anytime, anywhere. Most people never get this. Why? Because they've been fed a lie. That money is scarce and that it's hard to get. That's just bad programming. The truth is, money is just a game, and you've been playing with the wrong rule book. And today, I'm going to prove it to you. My name is Jake, and my job here is to cut through the noise. They tell you that finance is complicated, but the truth is the most powerful strategies are surprisingly simple. My goal is to show you how money really works so you can take control and get your money right. If you're tired of the confusing advice and want the straight talk on building wealth, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button if this video gives you some clarity. Now, before we get into the rules, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Why are most people, well, financially ignorant? It's a strange thing, right? We live in an age where all the information in the world is available on the phone in your pocket, usually for free. You can learn brain surgery or rocket science on YouTube. So why is it that 90% of the population is still completely in the dark about money? It's not because people are lazy, and it's not because they're bad at math. It boils down to two deep psychological roadblocks that are holding almost everyone back. The first one is flawed programming. From the moment we're kids, we're fed a diet of scarcity and fear. Think about the phrases you've heard 1,000 times. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is the root of all evil. We can't afford that. This drills a scarcity mindset deep into our brains, making us believe that money is a limited, evil thing that's hard to get. And then there's the biggest one. Stay out of debt. All debt is bad. This flawed conventional wisdom makes us afraid to take smart risks. The second reason is lack of confidence. Think about it. To build wealth, you have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to take risks. You might have to start a business, ask for a loan, or invest your hard-earned money. And that is terrifying. A very successful person once said, "Most people are not successful because they are afraid of success." And it's absolutely true. Deep down, many people don't believe they deserve to be wealthy. They have a self-image of someone who works hard and just gets by. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You can't hit a target you don't believe you're allowed to aim for. So they stay in their comfort zone, in the safe job they hate, because the fear of the unknown is greater than the pain of their current reality. Money is a game. That's all it is. And like any game, it has a set of rules. The problem is, most people are playing with the wrong rulebook. A rulebook handed down by people who also lost the game. So, people choose to stay financially ignorant because it's easier. It's more comfortable than facing the fear and the self-doubt that come with trying to radically change your life. So, today, we're throwing out that old, broken rulebook. I'm going to teach you the 4 most important rules of money. The real rules that the wealthy understand. These are the basics of becoming financially free, financially confident, and financially literate. If you can unlearn the bad programming and master these 4 simple rules, you will win the game. Guaranteed. The first real rule of money is probably the most important, and it's the one most people skip. They get a little extra cash, maybe a tax refund or a bonus, and they immediately start asking their friends, "What stock should I buy? Should I get into crypto? My buddy's flipping houses. Should I do that?" They're so eager to use their money that they forget the most critical step. The rule is this: never, ever invest in something you do not understand. Before you put a single dollar into a stock, a bond, or a piece of real estate, you must make the single most important investment of your entire life: investing in yourself. We see this story play out all the time. Someone wins the lottery, gets a big inheritance, or maybe a pro athlete gets their first massive contract. They are millionaires overnight, and just a few years later, they're bankrupt. The statistics are shocking. 70% of lottery winners end up completely broke in just a few years. Why does this happen? It's not because they're bad people. It's because they had $1 million in cash but a $10 understanding of money. They didn't know the rules. Your brain is your single greatest asset, and if you don't develop it first, you will lose your money. I guarantee it. You have to learn the game before you can win it. If you don't invest in your own education, you're not just stalling, you're making yourself a target. The world is full of people who want to sell you guaranteed 20% returns, complex crypto schemes, or can't miss real estate deals. They are hunting for financially ignorant people. They prey on your desire to get rich quick. Your financial knowledge isn't just a tool to build wealth. It's your only shield against the people who are trying to steal it. Your brain is your money-making machine. Trying to build wealth without financial knowledge is like being handed the keys to a 747 and trying to fly it just because you've been a passenger before. You're going to crash. It's inevitable. Investing in yourself. Reading the books, watching the videos, taking the courses, learning the skills. That's your time in the flight simulator. It's the only way to make sure you can actually handle the machine once you're in the pilot seat. This is why you have to learn about the other types of investments before you dive in. You learn about business so you can one day build or buy one. You learn about real estate so you can spot a good deal from a bad one. You learn about the stock market so you're investing, not just gambling. Your financial education is the non-negotiable foundation for everything else that follows. Now, one of the biggest things you have to unlearn from that old flawed programming is the crippling fear of debt. This one might be controversial, but it's the honest truth. That conventional wisdom that all debt is bad is a lie. And it's a lie that is specifically designed to keep you from building real wealth. Here's the rule. Debt is a powerful but deadly weapon. You have to learn to distinguish between bad debt and good debt. Bad debt is what 99% of people are drowning in. It's debt used for consumption. It's that credit card balance for dinners, clothes, and a vacation you couldn't really afford. It's that 7-year loan on a brand new truck that loses 20% of its value the second you drive it off the lot. Bad debt is a trap. It's a weight chained to your ankle, and its only purpose is to take money out of your pocket every single month. The scary thing about bad debt is that it feels good in the moment. It whispers sweet nothings in your ear. You deserve this. You work hard. What's another $50 a month? The entire system is designed to make you focus on the tiny monthly payment, not the crushing total cost. They're selling you a $700 a month payment on a truck, not a $70,000 liability. They've tricked you into renting your own lifestyle, and you're paying them a fortune in interest for the privilege. It's the most profitable trap in modern history. But good debt is the complete opposite. Good debt is a tool. It's debt used to acquire assets. Good debt is a strategic loan you take to start a business that you know will generate a profit. It's a mortgage on a rental property where the tenant's rent check pays the mortgage for you and puts an extra $300 in your pocket every month. The wealthy understand this distinction perfectly. They aren't afraid of debt. They're afraid of bad debt. Thinking all debt is bad is like thinking all fire is bad. If you're a child and you don't understand it, fire will absolutely burn your house down. But if you're an adult and you learn to control it and respect it, fire cooks your food and heats your home. Debt is the exact same. The financially illiterate get burned by it, often for their entire lives. The financially literate use it as a tool to build an empire. If you let that old, fearful programming paralyze you, you'll miss out on the single biggest tool for accelerating your wealth. You'll be stuck trying to save pennies while other people are using the bank's money to buy assets that make them rich. Once you start to understand debt as a tool and not just a monster, it opens up a whole new way of thinking. And that leads us directly to the third rule, which is all about breaking out of that defensive, scarcity-based mindset we talked about. The conventional wisdom tells you to live below your means, to save every penny, to cut out the lattes, to deprive yourself. And look, that's not terrible advice. You can't spend every dollar you make, but it's incomplete. It's only half of the equation. The real rule is you have to think rich, which means playing offense, not just defense. Playing defense is living below your means. It's cutting coupons. It's skipping the avocado toast. It's saving pennies. And that's important. You have to have a defense, but you can only cut so much. This is why I get so frustrated when gurus tell you the only path to wealth is to stop buying lattes. It's a joke. Do you really think depriving yourself of a $5 coffee is what's standing between you and being a millionaire? It's a distraction. It keeps you focused on the pennies, on the defense, so you never have the mental energy to look up and solve the real problem. The real problem isn't your $5 coffee, it's your $50,000 income. Playing defense just makes you a more comfortable poor person. Playing offense is what actually makes you rich. You can't save your way to being a millionaire if you're only making $40,000 a year. It's mathematically impossible. You'll just be a broke person with a small savings account. Thinking rich means you play offense. It's having the confidence to stop asking, how do I cut my $5 coffee? And start asking the much more powerful question, how can I develop a skill that makes me an extra $500 a month? See the difference? One is a mindset of scarcity. The other is a mindset of abundance. It's just like a football game. The live below your means crowd is 100% focused on defense. They're just trying not to lose. They might end the game 0-0, which is better than losing, but they will never win. The think rich mindset means you build a good defense, sure, but you spend most of your energy figuring out how to get into the end zone. You're trying to score. You're focused on expanding your means to support the lifestyle you want, not just shrinking your lifestyle to fit your current limited means. This single psychological shift is everything. It moves you from a place of scarcity to a place of opportunity. You stop seeing the world as a place where you have to pinch pennies and start seeing it as a world that is littered with opportunities to create value. And when you create value for other people, you get to capture some of that value for yourself in the form of money. And that offensive mindset, that focus on creating value, leads us straight to the final and most important rule. This is the end game. This is the entire point of becoming financially literate. The fourth rule is simple. You must develop high-income skills so you can acquire assets. This is the fundamental difference between the rich and everyone else. The poor and middle class work for money. The rich have their assets work for them. Let's define this, because this is the most important definition in all of finance. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. It's that simple. Let's make this crystal clear. Take two people, both making $60,000 a year. Person A saves up and buys a new $40,000 car. That car is a liability. It immediately starts sucking money out of their pocket for insurance, gas, and repairs. Not to mention the value drops like a rock. Person B saves up $40,000 and uses it as a down payment on a $200,000 rental property. That property is an asset. It immediately starts putting money into their pocket every month from the rent. After 5 years, Person A has an old car worth $15,000. Person B has an asset worth $250,000, has collected thousands in cash flow, and had their tenant pay down their loan. That single choice is why one person stays stuck and the other gets rich. Most people spend their entire lives acquiring liabilities that they think are assets. They buy a fancy car on a long loan. That's a liability. It yanks money out of your pocket every month. They buy a brand name wardrobe on a credit card. That's a liability. They even buy their dream home with a huge mortgage. And for the most part, your primary residence is a liability. It takes money out of your pocket every single month for the mortgage, the property taxes, the insurance, the repairs, the utilities. A rich person, on the other hand, uses their high-income skills to acquire true assets. They build a business that runs without them. That's an asset. They buy a rental property that cash flows, meaning the rent pays all the bills and puts extra money in their pocket. That's an asset. They build a portfolio of stocks that pays them dividends every quarter. That's an asset. Think of it this way. A high-paying job is like being a hamster on a very comfortable gold-plated wheel. You're running, and you're making good money. But the second you stop running, the money stops. Acquiring an asset is like building a machine that runs for you. You use your time and your skills to build it, and then it continues to produce value and money whether you show up to work that day or not. That is the true definition of financial freedom. It's not about being a millionaire just so you can buy a Lamborghini and impress people on Instagram. It's about acquiring enough assets to cover your monthly living expenses so you are no longer forced to trade your time for money. That is the entire game. And it all starts with breaking your old programming and learning these 4 rules. So, there you have it. The real rules of money. It's not about being a math genius or getting lucky with a stock pick. It's about breaking your old, flawed programming and learning to see the game for what it is. It all boils down to this. Invest in your brain first. Learn to use debt as a tool instead of fearing it as a monster. Play offense to expand your means. Don't just play defense by saving pennies. And use those skills to buy assets that build you a pipeline to freedom. Now, this path isn't easy. It requires you to think differently, to act differently, and to be more confident than the majority of people around you. It means taking responsibility for your own financial education instead of blaming the system. But the power to choose this path is completely in your hands. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today. You can either continue playing by the old broken rules that guarantee you'll stay stuck, or you can start learning the real rules today. If this video gave you some clarity and you're ready to get your money right, prove it to your future self by hitting that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video.